everybody, welcome back to my garden. I know it's been a while. I have been so behind. My son turned 5 at the end of August, and then we got sick, and my garden has just been overgrowing and a huge mess. Now, if you're following along with the Blaze Project, you know that we have a citizen science project that's collecting data on flowering times across the country throughout hardiness zones. Now, I want to take a moment and acknowledge the difference from this year to last year in my flowering time. So completely different strains, but overall the trend was even later. So last year, my plants went into flower the second week of August. This year, I saw signs second week of August, but some of them still didn't go until third, fourth week of flower. And I'm just now, in the last couple of weeks, really starting to see buds, which is terrifying for me up in northeastern Washington, where the first frost last year was September 16th, just a few days away. So, as I mentioned, I'm behind. I should have pruned. I bit off a little bit more than I could chew this year. I have grown more food and canned and preserved more food for my family than ever before. And this is my biggest canna garden that I've taken care of on my own without hired help. I managed commercial farms and had my own commercial farms, but I always had help. And this year, beginning with homeschooling my son and raising chickens and dogs and cats and a huge vegetable garden and preserving food and just being, I have my real estate license and doing all of the things, mountain biking, camping, fishing. I am a little bit behind, but today we're going to talk about pruning and directing sugars. Once your plant is in flower, I really like to have my plants pruned pretty well throughout the vegetative cycle to really direct how they're going to grow. These plants are all Purple Caper clones that I got from him in California. Thank you, Purple Caper. You're awesome. You've been such a great mentor and friend to me since 2016. I can't believe it's been 10 years. But I honestly don't even know what these strains are. I lost all the tags. That's indicative of how chaotic and fun-filled my life has been lately. They're under here somewhere. Anyway, I want to talk about pruning and why we are doing that when we're doing it. So like I mentioned, we really want to be pruning heavy during veg. And then once we get into flower, I like to wait after the transition to do one more heavy prune. And this is because sometimes, and I've seen this specifically with the strain Wedding Cake, when you prune during the first signs of flower, like the stretch period, we can see a delay to the onset of bud sites. And with my short growing season, I didn't want to risk that because these are all genetics I've never grown before. So really making sure that I am, maximizing their growth through the growing cycle as much as possible was so important to me. In here, check out what I'm doing. So now that it's been in flower for, we're in week 3, 4 here in zone 6B, Northeast Washington. I mean, we're barely seeing buds on these. I'm going through and doing another really heavy prune. And this is because I want to direct the excess sugars that are being produced by the plant through photosynthesis, right? That is a byproduct of photosynthesis, is sugar. And those excess sugars are stored in the fruits. What are the fruits? Those are the buds. Now, I'm going to take this as another life lesson for us because lately on social media, if you've been on, and here's a good example of the monster cropping and how it went into flower and then just the super tight nodal spacing. Monster cropping is like where you just get a ton, where the bud site had initially started and then it reverts to veg, you then get stems all growing out of those little nodes. So it can be a pain in the ass. So even though it doesn't look like I may have pruned this plant very much in its life, it has been pruned. It's just been neglected the last month. And so this is something that I want to talk about where we focus our energy. Just like this plant, we produce sugar, or that sweet, that energy, right? Sugar is energy. So our energy is directed to the things in our life, right? The things that we focus on. So like this plant, we have a certain amount of sugar or a certain amount of energy that is produced every day from photosynthesis. And this sugar is going to move to the bud sites. Once a plant goes into flower, the bud sites that you see, that's it. They're not going to grow any more new bud sites. Unless, of course, you go reveg and go back into flower. Now, what I'm saying here is removing the excess, the things that are unwanted, is going to put that limited amount of energy from photosynthesis and store it into the bud sites that we want. Look at this. This whole branch is just nothing that I want to keep. This is all where the monster cropping, where revegged. And you can see it's really common for revegged plants to have leaves of just one. Like that's just one little petal, one little leaf. It happens to the best of us, especially, you know, my life has changed so much from being a professional commercial grower to homesteading mama, homeschooling mama. Hopefully that's the right angle. Anyway, where we direct our energy is going to be where we see the most growth, the bigger buds. So we remove the extra stuff, the noise in our life that isn't helping us maximize our growth, and we see bigger returns, right? We have better yields on where our energy is going towards. So let's say you want to, you know, you have all of these different ideas, which is something that I have a lot of. But the more ideas you have, the more spread out your energy is, the more hobbies you have, the more things you have going on in your life. Now, one of those big energy wasters in our society today is social media. I mean, we're on it right now. It's a love-hate relationship, right? We can learn so much from it. We can connect with people all around the world. I've met such amazing people through social media. But if you've been paying attention, there's also a lot of negativity. There's a lot of things that are being shared. There's a lot of hate, and there's a lot of just things that are bringing you down, that are taking away those sugars and directing them towards unnecessary thoughts, feelings, emotions. And I just want to remind you guys to focus your energy, just like this plant, where you want to see growth in your life. What is it that you want? Whether it's a career, a budding business, a garden, a homeschooling, a child, cooking. There's so many things that we can do that are good and can have a positive impact on our lives and our communities, that like really just cutting out that noise, the extra, is so important. So like our plants, we're gonna make sure that we have a balanced diet, we have plenty of water, lots of sunshine, and we're gonna make sure that we focus our energy on things that enrich our life, that give us a good return, right? We're not gonna grow strains that don't yield well unless they give you a specific kind of medicine that you're looking for. Oh, here's a plant tag. Let's see what this is. CS2, chocolate skunk pheno 2. So this is a chocolate skunk. So I am, a little behind, but everything seems late this year. So I'm just going with the seasons. And I want to say that in this time, we are lucky to have freedom of speech and to be able to share our thoughts in America. and that needs to be cherished, because there are a lot of places in the world where our plants, the things that bring us joy, bring us medicine, provide for our families, whatever reason you grow for, it has been prohibited in most places, including America, and still is to this day to an extent in the United States. And I am someone who has been shadow banned on social media for, taking a stance, pro canna stance, and teaching people how to grow it themselves sustainably, organically, efficiently. And I have had my voice silenced by these social media companies, people reporting me, not liking what I have to say. But no matter what, if you disagree with somebody, we are blessed to be in a United States where the freedom of speech is protected by our First Amendment right. Many of you watching this may not be American, but I am here in America, and we just had a political assassination. And I think it's important to remember that even if you don't agree with somebody, we are all children of the sun. We are all human. And like this plant, we have energy. And what we put our energy towards ripples out into the lives around us, into our ecosystem. So like that root exudates are feeding microorganisms that are breaking down and cycling the nutrients in this soil, and the daikon radish that I planted is feeding the earthworms, and the seeds are providing food for the birds and the quail. And so focusing our energy on positive ways to influence our community is the most important thing that we can do. And I have seen so much hatred on social media from people that I love, and it makes me so sad to think that there is that much hate and division in our world. And I think that that is planned. And call me a conspiracy theorist, but the people who are in charge, the people who own the majority of the world's wealth, do not want to see us come together, because look at the ecosystem. When you work together, you can do so many things. You can create anything that you can imagine. We have God within us. We are creators. And when we work with each other and with nature, supporting Mother Earth, we can do so much. We can accomplish so much more through love. So when you're out pruning your garden, when you're interacting with people in your community, take a moment and ask yourself if what you're thinking or what you're doing is going to benefit you in the long run. You know, is having this conversation positive to your mental health? Is engaging with these people in negative conversations like hatred and racism and violence, is it going to have a benefit to your life or to the lives around you? So I didn't mean to get all emotional. I hate it when people cry on camera, but I'm hurting for the world right now, and I want to see more good. And I know that each of us has so much good, even if we disagree in opinions. Everyone has opinions. Not everything you think is true. Our thoughts are manipulated by our hormones, by how much food we've had, how much sleep we've had. There's so much at play with our emotions. And so speaking on our emotions isn't necessarily something that we should be doing all the time. There is power in silence. There's power in retrospection. And that's why I think meditation and prayer is so important. Getting off of our phones and not having our brains constantly stimulated with other people's ideas is such a blessing. Go for a walk, go for a bike ride, take a moment to give your spouse, your child, your brother, your sister, mother, father a 30-second hug. Squeeze them as tight as they can and feel gratitude for the life that you have, for the sun, the air, the soil, and the plants around us. Smoke a little bit more, share medicine, and get out there and prune your plants. Direct your energy to somewhere good. And I need to get back to this and stop mumbling and crying on camera and get these plants finished up. I'll show you a before and after of some of this. I can actually show you right now. Let me take this and we're gonna see. So this is before. Look at how terribly I'm ashamed that this is what my plant looks like. I have neglected it so much. And here we go, some after. And these are the ones that were revegged, and so I neglected them more than the other parts of the garden because pruning monster cropped plants that have revegged is a pain in the butt. So direct your energy towards good. Grow big flowers. Share them with your community. Share good ideas, positivity, hug each other, love more, eat yummy food, smoke good dank. And remember that you are a child of God. You have God within you. And whatever God means to you, the universe, Mother Earth, simply the molecules that surround us, on the periodic table of elements, whatever it is that you think God is, that you are a part of it, everything is a part of it, and you have the power to make a significant change simply by being kind, loving, and directing your energy towards growing big buds. Now, if you want to catch me on a live stream to go over the Blaze Project updates, this Monday we'll be live streaming 4:20 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget, subscribe, share, like, and tune in, turn on notifications so you don't miss the live stream. And if you liked some of this and you haven't seen some more of my spiritual side, check out this video, Fishamino tea and reincarnation, because I am sharing my truth and I am trying to direct more of my energy towards positivity and encouraging people to do the same. Thank you guys. Love you.